Lyra had always enjoyed the quiet of her home. Perched high above the alien city, her crystal house floated gently, its walls shimmering in soft colors that shifted with her moods. The city below buzzed with lights and movement, a symphony of alien voices, hovercrafts, and the occasional distant hum of energy engines. But up here, in her personal sanctuary, Lyra found calm. Every corner of her home had a purpose. The walls adjusted to her height, the furniture floated and moved with the room's energy, and the lights changed to help her think and focus. She had built this home for herself, to be free, to be alone, and to work on her scientific experiments without interruption. Tonight, Lyra was testing a small energy converter she had designed to stabilize the gravity in one of her rooms. She adjusted the floating panel carefully, her hands moving with precision. The room glowed with a gentle blue light as the machine hummed steadily. Satisfied, she sat back and watched the readings. That was when she noticed movement outside the window. At first, she thought it was a stray delivery drone or maybe one of the city maintenance bots. But the shape was wrong. It was not mechanical, and it moved clumsily, almost stumbling along the platform beneath her home. Lyra frowned. Her city had rules about who could be on these high platforms. Unauthorized beings were rare, and humans, she had read about them in old historical files, were almost never seen this far from their home planets. And yet, here was a human, struggling to walk, leaning on a strange walking stick, his clothes torn and dirty. Lyra felt a twinge of curiosity mixed with caution. Humans were unpredictable, their behavior often confusing even to the most advanced alien minds. But she also felt something else, a strange pull of empathy. The human looked tired, hurt, and completely lost. After a moment of hesitation, she made a decision. She floated over to the front of her house, her body moving lightly in the low gravity, and opened the entrance. "Are you lost?" she called softly, her voice calm but firm. The human stopped abruptly and looked up. His eyes widened in surprise, reflecting a mixture of fear and relief. He spoke slowly, almost as if choosing his words carefully. I don't know. I didn't mean to come here. I needed help." Lyra observed him closely. He was taller than most of her kind, with broad shoulders and strong arms. His hair was messy, and he had small cuts on his face. His clothes were strange, made of material she had never seen before, and they hung loosely on his body. Clearly, he did not belong here. And yet, there was something in his posture, a resilience, a quiet determination that made her pause. "Come inside," Lyra said finally. "You need medical attention. You can't stay out here." The human hesitated, glancing around nervously. I don't want to cause trouble." "You are not causing trouble," Lyra said firmly. "You are hurt, and I cannot leave you outside." Reluctantly, he stepped forward. As he entered, the air inside the house seemed to shift around him. His eyes widened as he took in the floating furniture, the softly glowing walls, and the shifting gravity that made the lights float in delicate patterns. He looked almost as if he wanted to reach out and touch everything, but he was unsure if he should. Lyra watched him quietly. "I am Lyra," she said. "And you are?" "Jack," he replied, his voice low and steady. "Jack Adams." "Jack Adams," Lyra repeated, testing the sound of it. She noted how Earth-like it sounded compared to the names of most beings she had studied. "You are human?" Jack nodded, rubbing his arm where a deep cut had bled through his sleeve. "Yes, I was traveling, and something went wrong. I don't know where I am exactly." Lyra's curiosity grew. Humans were always full of surprises. They were not the strongest, nor the fastest, yet they seemed to survive through cleverness and determination. And this one, he had survived long enough to reach her home, which was no small feat in this city. She guided him to a floating chair and used a small healing device to close his cuts. He flinched slightly at the first touch, but relaxed as the machine worked quickly and efficiently. "You have been traveling far," she said. "This place is not meant for your kind. It can be dangerous." Jack nodded, wincing slightly as the device passed over a deep bruise on his shoulder. I didn't know where else to go. Your house. I saw the light, and I thought maybe someone could help." Lyra smiled faintly, though the smile was mostly curiosity. "You were correct to come here, but humans are fragile in this environment. You must be careful." Jack looked around again, his eyes widening with every movement of the walls and furniture. "It's incredible," he murmured. "I've never seen anything like this. The way your house moves, it's alive in a way." "It responds to me," Lyra explained. "Everything in this home is linked to my energy. It adjusts, moves, and reacts to my thoughts and actions. It is safe for those who understand it." Jack chuckled softly. "Safe. Maybe. I feel like I'm in a dream, floating everywhere." Lyra observed him, noting the mixture of awe and confusion in his expression. "You will adapt," she said. "It will take time, but you can learn to move here." He looked at her, and she noticed something in his eyes: trust. Despite being in a world completely foreign to him, he trusted her enough to follow her guidance. And that was rare. Many beings would panic, resist, or flee in such circumstances. For the next few hours, Lyra showed him how to move safely inside the home. Jack stumbled at first, bumping gently into floating walls and tables, but he laughed at himself, and Lyra found herself smiling in return. He was clumsy, yes, but there was a sense of determination in him. He wanted to learn, to survive, and to adapt. "You will not fall," Lyra said as he steadied himself. "Your balance is different from mine, but that is natural. You must feel the flow of the gravity fields." Jack nodded, concentrating, and slowly he began to move more confidently. "It's strange," he said. "Everything is different here, but I think I can manage it." Lyra felt a small thrill of satisfaction. Humans were unpredictable, but their adaptability was remarkable. They did not give up easily. Even in a world that seemed impossible for them, they could find a way to survive. As the night deepened, Lyra offered him a place to rest. The house adjusted automatically, creating a small area where the gravity was lighter, and the lights softened to a gentle purple glow. Jack lay down, still wide-eyed, taking in the serene beauty of the alien environment. "Why did you help me?" Jack asked softly, almost as if he feared the answer. Lyra looked at him thoughtfully. "Because it was the right thing to do. You were hurt and alone. This home, it is meant to protect and support life, even life that is not like mine." Jack smiled faintly. "I've never met anyone like you." "And I have never had a human in my home," Lyra replied. "You are an anomaly. But sometimes anomalies teach us the most." For a long while, they sat in silence. The soft hum of the house filled the space, blending with the distant noises of the city below. Jack finally closed his eyes, feeling a safety he had not known since his travels began. Lyra watched him for a moment, then returned to her workstation, curious about this strange human and the lessons he might bring. Outside, the city continued its endless hum, unaware of the unusual guest in Lyra's floating home. Inside, a human and an alien shared the first steps of trust and understanding. One did not belong here, yet the other had welcomed him, and that simple act of kindness would set the stage for discoveries, dangers, and a bond that neither could have imagined. For Lyra, the night was quiet again, but her mind was alight with questions. How had a human managed to reach her home? How would he adapt to her world? And what might his presence teach her about humans, about survival, and about the unexpected ways life could intersect. For now, she let him rest. Tomorrow, they would begin learning from each other, and the adventure of a human in an alien house would truly begin. The morning light filtered softly through the crystalline walls of Lyra's home. The floating panels reflected pale green and blue hues, creating a calm, almost magical atmosphere. Jack stirred, blinking against the gentle glow, and for a moment, he forgot where he was. The night before had been a strange blur of floating furniture, shifting walls, and strange devices that hummed and glowed. Yet somehow he had slept comfortably, the house adjusting automatically to his human needs. Lyra watched him quietly from across the room. She had prepared a small area for him, adjusting gravity to match his human strength and balance. Watching him move was fascinating. Humans were awkward in comparison to aliens, but they had a certain determination in their steps. Jack stretched slowly, rubbing his eyes, and finally noticed Lyra. "Good morning," she said softly. "Sleep well?" Jack nodded, still taking in the surroundings. "I think so. It's different, but safe." "That is because the house adjusts," Lyra explained. "It responds to energy and thought. You will get used to it, but you must be careful. Even small mistakes can cause accidents here." Jack rose and tested his balance carefully, floating slightly in the low-gravity environment. "I feel strange," he admitted, "like I'm walking in a dream, but I think I can handle it." Lyra smiled faintly. "You will. Humans are more adaptable than they seem. You may stumble at first, but you learn quickly." They spent the morning moving through the house together. Lyra showed him how the walls could shift to make new rooms, how the floating furniture responded to thought, and how the energy fields in the home created safe paths for movement. Jack's eyes widened at each demonstration. He laughed a little when he accidentally made a chair spin wildly through the room, narrowly avoiding a floating shelf. "I think your house is alive," he said, still laughing. "It moves with you, listens to you. I've never seen anything like it." "In a way, it is alive," Lyra replied, "but it needs guidance just like any living thing. You must respect it. It will not harm you if you act carefully." Jack nodded, eager to learn. Over the next few hours, Lyra guided him through exercises to navigate the house safely. He bumped into walls less, floated along hallways more smoothly, and even began to anticipate the subtle movements of the furniture. Each success brought a small grin to his face and a soft sense of pride. Lyra watched him closely, impressed by his quick learning. "You are better than I expected," she said. "I thought it would take longer for a human to adapt." Jack shrugged. "I guess I just want to survive, and this place is too amazing to give up on." Lyra felt a warmth in her chest. Humans were strange, certainly, but they had an energy she admired. They were fragile in many ways, but their spirit was strong. Jack's persistence reminded her of her own determination when she had built this home and learned to control it. As the day passed, Lyra decided it was time for Jack to see the heart of her home, the main laboratory. It was a large chamber with crystalline walls that reflected light in complex patterns. Floating platforms held experiments that hummed softly, energy streams flowing in delicate arcs above them. Lyra had spent years perfecting this place, and it was her sanctuary, her workshop, her mind made real in space. Jack's mouth dropped open as he stepped inside. "This is unbelievable," he said, moving slowly to avoid touching anything. "It's like a city of lights inside a room." Lyra nodded. "Everything here is connected. The house is more than walls and furniture. It is a network of energy, controlled and balanced. It helps me create, discover, and learn. And now, it will help you." Jack's curiosity got the better of him. He reached out to touch a small floating device, and the energy within it shimmered gently. Lyra caught his hand before he could press anything. "Careful," she warned. "Some devices are delicate. They can be dangerous if handled without understanding." Jack pulled back, a little embarrassed. "Sorry, I didn't mean to break anything." "You did not," Lyra assured him. "But you must learn. Observation is the first step. Humans are clever, yes, but this place is precise. It does not forgive mistakes." Jack nodded, his eyes scanning the lab. "I can do that. I want to learn. I want to understand how your home works, and maybe help if I can." Lyra considered him. Humans were not trained for alien technology, yet his determination was clear. "Very well," she said. "I will show you some basics, but remember, nothing is to be touched without permission. Watch first, then act. That is how you survive here." The day moved slowly, filled with careful lessons. Lyra demonstrated energy converters, floating platforms, and subtle changes in gravity. Jack absorbed everything, asking questions, making notes in his own mind, and occasionally testing small adjustments under her supervision. Each success built trust, not just in him, but between them. By mid-afternoon, Lyra allowed Jack a small, independent task. She handed him a minor energy panel that had become misaligned. Carefully, he studied it, observing how the streams of energy moved. He adjusted it slowly, mimicking what he had seen. The panel responded perfectly, and he grinned. "I did it," he said quietly, more to himself than to Lyra. "You did," she said, impressed. "You are learning quickly. Humans can surprise us." Jack laughed, a little awkwardly. "I guess I'm full of surprises." As the evening approached, the house began to shift subtly. Lights changed. Furniture settled into new configurations, and the energy hum of the lab grew softer. Jack moved around confidently now, his awkwardness replaced by careful observation and growing skill. Lyra led him to a balcony that overlooked the alien city. Hovercrafts moved below, lights flickering like stars in motion. "You see," she said, "the city is alive too. But unlike your home, it does not respond to individuals. It moves on its own, according to rules and energy flows." Jack gazed down, silent for a moment. "It's beautiful and dangerous. I can see why it would be hard for a human to survive here." "Yes," Lyra replied. "Most humans would not last long. But you—" She paused, studying him. "You have spirit and you have courage. That is what matters more than strength or speed." Jack smiled, though it was tinged with uncertainty. "I hope so. I don't want to fail here. I don't want to be a burden." "You are not a burden," Lyra said firmly. "You are an opportunity for both of us. You will learn, and I will learn from you. That is how understanding grows." As night fell, Lyra adjusted the home's gravity and lighting to create a comfortable sleeping area for Jack again. He lay down, exhausted but happy. He had learned more in a single day than he thought possible, yet he felt ready for more. Lyra sat nearby, reviewing the lab's energy readings. She thought about the strange human she had welcomed into her home. He was out of place, yes, but there was a resilience in him that she admired. Humans had always been unpredictable, but in Jack, she saw potential. He could adapt, survive, and perhaps even thrive in this world. The night was quiet, the only sounds coming from the gentle hum of the home and the distant city below. Jack's breathing was steady, and for the first time, Lyra felt a sense of peace. Her home had welcomed an outsider, and in doing so, had opened a new door to discovery, connection, and unexpected friendship. Tomorrow would bring more lessons, more adjustments, and perhaps more surprises. Jack was not fully part of her world yet, but he had taken the first steps, and Lyra knew that humans, with their cleverness and determination, could teach even an alien something new about life, resilience, and courage. She smiled faintly as she watched him sleep. This human didn't fit in her home, not yet, but she had a feeling that soon he might just belong. The next morning, Lyra woke early. She moved quietly through the floating corridors of her home, checking energy flows and panels, ensuring everything was stable. Jack had woken shortly after dawn, his curiosity already active. He had spent the night thinking about the lessons from the previous day and was eager to explore more. "Good morning," Lyra said as Jack joined her in the main hall. His face showed excitement and a hint of nervousness. "Ready for today's lessons?" Jack nodded eagerly. "I think so. I feel more confident now. I won't break anything, I hope." "You will be fine," Lyra assured him. "But today, we need to step beyond the home itself. You need to understand the city, at least from a distance, and how humans can move safely among alien systems. Observation is as important as action." Jack listened intently as Lyra guided him to a balcony that overlooked the bustling alien city below. The streets were alive with alien life. Beings with multiple limbs, floating vehicles, and intricate light patterns that moved like flowing rivers. The city was beautiful, but it was also unpredictable and dangerous for someone who did not know its rules. "Humans can adapt," Lyra said, "but they are not as fast or as strong as most of my kind. You must be clever. You must notice patterns and anticipate movement. Today, we will practice that." Jack leaned forward, squinting at the moving vehicles below. "It's so much. Everything moves differently. How do people survive here?" Lyra smiled faintly. "They follow the rules and respect the flows. Those who don't are often removed from the system. Humans would struggle without guidance, but you have a mind that can learn quickly. That is your advantage." They spent the morning observing from the balcony. Lyra pointed out routes that were safer, the signals that controlled hover traffic, and areas where humans or fragile beings would be at risk. Jack noted everything, asking questions, and slowly he began to understand. "This is amazing," he said. "I never imagined a city could work like this. It's like it's alive, but everyone has to follow the rhythm to survive." "Exactly," Lyra replied. "Now, it is time for you to take small steps. Observation alone is not enough. You must act and adapt." Lyra led Jack to a side street platform nearby, but still within safe observation distance. She had activated a protective energy shield that would keep him safe from any dangers below. Still, the challenge was real enough to test his focus. "Your task," Lyra explained, "is to move through the street section while observing traffic and energy patterns. The shield will protect you, but you must make the right choices. Study first, then move." Jack hesitated for a moment, his human instincts aware of the danger, but he remembered Lyra's encouragement and took a deep breath. Slowly, he stepped onto the street section, watching the flow of vehicles, pedestrians, and floating platforms. His movements were careful, deliberate, but soon he began to move more confidently. "Good," Lyra called from above. "Notice the pattern. When the lights shift, follow the rhythm. Move only when the path is clear." Jack adjusted his steps, weaving carefully through the complex patterns of movement. He stumbled slightly, but quickly recovered. Lyra's guidance and the protective shield allowed him to take risks safely. And with each successful step, his confidence grew. Hours passed as he practiced observation and timing. By midday, Jack had moved through multiple sections of the city, reacting quickly to changing conditions. He had fallen a few times, thankfully protected, but each fall taught him something new. Lyra watched quietly, impressed. Humans were not naturally adapted to alien systems, but Jack's determination, quick thinking, and ability to learn made him remarkable. "You are improving," Lyra said finally. "You see the city, understand it, and react appropriately. Most humans would fail in half this time. Jack grinned, panting slightly from the effort. I'm learning from the best teacher. Lyra shook her head, smiling faintly. No, you are learning from yourself. I only guide. Your mind does the work. As the afternoon approached, an alert sounded in Lyra's home. She frowned as she analyzed the signal. It was an unusual energy spike nearby, one that indicated an inspection unit or enforcement team was moving close to her home. Humans were not allowed in residential zones without authorization, and someone had clearly noticed the anomaly of a human presence near her floating house. Jack, she said carefully, there is a risk approaching. We must be cautious. This is not a threat yet, but it could become one if discovered. Jack looked at her, eyes wide but steady. What do we do? We must move strategically, Lyra explained. Your understanding of the home's energy and my guidance can keep you safe. Follow me closely. She led him through hidden corridors, small passageways she had created over years of design. Jack moved quickly but carefully, matching her steps. The alien enforcement team passed by the visible side of the home, unaware that two beings, one human, one alien, were navigating the hidden paths within. Jack was amazed at how much Lyra knew about her own home. Every panel, every wall, every energy flow had a purpose, and she guided him expertly. He realized that humans often relied on ingenuity, but Lyra's home relied on knowledge, precision, and understanding. Together, they formed a balance, human adaptability paired with alien control. As they emerged into the main chamber again, Lyra relaxed slightly. You see, humans can be clever, but they need guidance in environments that are not natural to them. You learned quickly, Jack. You are not helpless here. Jack nodded, catching his breath. I never thought I could do this. But with your help, I feel like I belong here, at least a little. Lyra smiled faintly. You belong because you try. That is what matters. Most beings give up when they are unsure. You do not. The afternoon passed with more lessons. Jack learned how to control small energy panels, adjust minor environmental flows, and move between floating platforms without hesitation. Each success reinforced the bond between him and Lyra. She had taken a human who did not belong in her world and helped him thrive. By evening, Lyra decided to show Jack one of her favorite parts of the home, the observation dome. It was a transparent, crystalline sphere that extended above the main house, giving a panoramic view of the city and the stars beyond. Floating platforms inside the dome allowed movement in 3 dimensions, and the gravity was carefully balanced for both humans and aliens. Jack stepped inside, awe written across his face. The city below looked like a network of lights, and the stars beyond were bright and clear. It's incredible, he whispered. I've never seen anything like this. It's beautiful. It is, Lyra agreed, and it reminds us why we adapt. Humans survive in strange worlds because they learn, observe, and persist. You have done well today, Jack. He looked at her, a small smile on his face. I couldn't have done it without you. Lyra shook her head. You did it yourself. I only guided. That is the difference between survival and failure. You chose to act, to learn, and to trust yourself. That is human strength. That is HFY, humanity, foresight, and yearning to grow. Jack laughed softly at her words. HFY, huh? I like that. It feels right. Just as they were about to leave the dome, a sudden alert sounded again. Lyra's sensors had detected movement outside, a patrol drone approaching the house, its energy field scanning for anomalies. This time it was closer, faster, and more precise. We must act quickly, Lyra said, her voice calm but urgent. Stay close to me and follow my instructions exactly. Jack nodded, heart pounding. He felt a mix of fear and excitement. He was human, yes, and not naturally adapted to alien life, but he had learned much. He could survive this if he trusted Lyra and himself. The two moved through hidden passages again, carefully avoiding the drone's scanning fields. Jack's instincts, sharpened by the morning's lessons, helped him anticipate paths and obstacles. Lyra guided him with quiet precision, her knowledge of the home's energy flows keeping them safe. After several tense minutes, they emerged back in the main chamber, safe from the drone's detection. Both were breathing heavily, adrenaline still coursing through their veins. "You see," Lyra said quietly, "humans may not be built for every environment, but your ability to learn, adapt, and think quickly allows you to survive. That is what makes your species remarkable." Jack smiled, exhaustion mixed with pride. I think I understand now. I may not belong naturally, but I can find my place. And with your guidance, maybe even thrive." Lyra nodded, pleased. "Exactly. Today you learned more than just movement and observation. You learned trust, courage, and patience. These will serve you even more than physical skill." As night fell, Lyra adjusted the house's energy fields to create a safe resting space. Jack lay down, exhausted but content, reflecting on the day's lessons and challenges. He realized that he had grown not just in skill, but in understanding of himself and his place in this alien world. Lyra watched him for a moment before returning to her work, thinking about the unusual human she had welcomed. He was out of place, yes, but he had proven his courage, intelligence, and adaptability. Humans could survive, even thrive, in worlds far different from their own, and Jack was living proof. The night was quiet, the home humming softly and the city lights twinkled below. Tomorrow would bring new lessons, perhaps new challenges, but Jack was ready. He had faced danger, adapted, and learned. And Lyra knew that together, they could overcome whatever the city, or the universe, might throw at them next. The next morning, Lyra awoke to the soft glow of her home's walls. The city below was beginning its daily rhythm, hovercrafts moving like rivers of light, alien voices echoing in the distance. Jack had already been awake for a while, exploring the home quietly, testing his balance, and observing how the energy fields responded to his movements. "Good morning, Jack," Lyra called from the main hall. "Today, we face something different. It is time to see how well you can handle unexpected challenges." Jack turned, a spark of excitement and nerves in his eyes. "Challenges? I'm ready. I think I've learned enough to handle most things now." Lyra smiled faintly. "Confidence is good, but today will test more than your skill. Today will test your judgment, your patience, and your courage. The city has noticed a human in my domain. We cannot ignore this. We must be clever, careful, and work together." Jack nodded, understanding the seriousness of the moment. "I'll follow your lead," he said, determination in his voice. Lyra led him to a hidden platform, slightly removed from the main house, where they could observe without being seen. Her sensors had detected patrol drones moving in coordinated patterns, scanning for anomalies. The human presence, even one as small as Jack, could be noticed and reported. "This is where your learning begins," Lyra said. "You must watch carefully, anticipate movement, and react without hesitation. Mistakes could be dangerous, but we will manage them together." Jack took a deep breath. "I understand. I won't let you down." The drones passed below, their energy fields humming softly as they scanned the streets. Jack watched their movements, noting the rhythm and timing. He remembered Lyra's lessons. Observe first, then act. Slowly, he began to move along the safe paths Lyra had indicated, floating lightly above the platform as he navigated the shifts in gravity. "You're doing well," Lyra said quietly, her eyes tracking his progress. "Notice the pauses in their patterns. That is your chance to move. Timing is everything. Jack adjusted his steps carefully, moving only when the path was clear. He stumbled slightly once, but quickly regained balance. Lyra's guidance, combined with his understanding of the home's energy, allowed him to progress safely. Hours passed as they practiced observation and movement. Jack grew more confident. Anticipating the drone's patterns and navigating the complex environment with surprising skill, Lyra was impressed. Humans were not naturally adapted to alien systems, but Jack's intelligence, determination, and quick thinking made him capable. Suddenly, an alert sounded. A patrol drone had changed its path, moving closer than expected. Lyra's sensors indicated that it could detect the energy signature of a human presence near her home. "Jack," she said urgently, "we have limited time. You must move quickly, but carefully. Trust your instincts." Jack's heart raced. He knew that a mistake could expose them both, but he also knew he had learned enough to make the right choices. With steady breath, he began to move, following Lyra's instructions closely. The drone's energy field passed over the platform, scanning methodically. Jack adjusted his position, using the small shadows and shifts in gravity to remain undetected. He felt a rush of adrenaline, fear mixed with focus, but he kept moving, step by step. "You're almost clear," Lyra called quietly. "One more section." Jack concentrated, recalling the lessons of observation and timing. He moved with precision, avoiding the drone's scanning field. Finally, he reached a safe zone, hidden from view. He exhaled, relief flooding through him. Lyra joined him, her expression calm but proud. "You did it. You remained undetected. Most humans would have panicked or been noticed immediately. You adapted and survived. That is remarkable." Jack smiled, exhaustion mixed with pride. I couldn't have done it without you guiding me, but I think I'm finally starting to understand." "Yes," Lyra said. "You understand that survival is not just strength or speed. It is patience, observation, and adaptability. And you, Jack, have all of these qualities." They returned to the main house, where the floating walls shifted to accommodate their movements. Jack moved more confidently now, aware of how to use the energy fields to his advantage. He was learning not just to survive, but to thrive. As evening approached, Lyra decided it was time for a final lesson, a test of trust and teamwork. She led Jack to the observation dome, the transparent sphere that offered a panoramic view of the city and the stars beyond. Floating platforms allowed movement in 3 dimensions, and the gravity was balanced for both humans and aliens. "Today," Lyra said, "you will navigate the dome while I adjust the energy fields. This will simulate unexpected changes and challenges. You must respond, adapt, and maintain balance." Jack nodded, ready for the challenge. The platform shifted slightly, lights changed, and subtle gravity shifts tested his balance. He moved carefully, adjusting his steps and using the walls for support when necessary. Each adjustment required focus, quick thinking, and trust in his instincts. "You're doing well," Lyra encouraged. "Notice how the environment changes. Predict the shifts and react accordingly. Humans survive not because they are the strongest, but because they think and adapt." Jack's confidence grew with each successful movement. He began to anticipate the shifts, moving smoothly from one platform to another. Lyra observed, impressed by his rapid learning. Suddenly, a section of the dome shifted more sharply than expected, simulating a potential collapse. Jack hesitated for a split second, then reacted instinctively, using the walls and a floating rail to steady himself. "You adapted," Lyra said softly. "You did not panic. That is the essence of survival." Jack exhaled, a smile breaking across his face. I think I can handle anything now. With your guidance, I've learned more than I ever imagined." Lyra nodded, pleased. "And that is why I welcomed you into my home. You did not fit here at first, but you have proven that humans can adapt, learn, and thrive in environments far from their own. You are living proof of the strength and spirit of your species." As night fell, the city below sparkled like a sea of lights. Jack and Lyra sat together in the observation dome, looking out at the alien world. For the first time, Jack felt truly at home, not because the environment was familiar, but because he had learned to understand it, navigate it, and find his place within it. "Thank you, Lyra," he said quietly, "for everything, for your guidance, your patience, and for trusting me." Lyra smiled faintly. "You earned that trust, Jack. You adapted, you observed, and you acted. That is what matters. You may not have fit here at first, but now, you belong." Jack looked out at the city, feeling a sense of pride and belonging he had never known. He had faced challenges, learned new ways to survive, and proven that humans could thrive even in the most alien environments. And he knew that with Lyra by his side, there would be no limit to what he could achieve. The night was quiet, filled only with the soft hum of the home and the distant sounds of the city. Jack and Lyra remained in the observation dome, sharing the moment of peace and accomplishment. The trials of the day had strengthened their bond, tested their abilities, and shown them the power of trust, learning, and adaptation. Lyra thought about the unusual human in her home. He had been out of place at first, clumsy and unsure, yet he had learned, adapted, and thrived. Humans were not the strongest or fastest, but their courage, ingenuity, and determination made them extraordinary. Jack had proven that in a world far from his own, humanity could rise, survive, and inspire. Jack looked at Lyra, eyes reflecting the city lights. "I never thought I could belong here, but now I do. Thank you for giving me a chance." Lyra nodded. "And thank you for showing me what humans can do. You are more than a visitor in my home, Jack. You are a reminder that differences can become strengths, and that trust and courage can bridge any gap." The night continued, the stars above and the city below shining brightly. Jack had faced challenges, learned, and grown. He had earned his place in the alien world, not because he fit naturally, but because he adapted, persevered, and proved the extraordinary nature of humanity. Lyra watched him for a moment before returning to her work, her thoughts filled with possibilities. Together, they had created a bond that went beyond species, a bond of trust, learning, and respect. Jack had entered a world that was not his own, and he had thrived. The home hummed softly around them, a living testament to adaptability and understanding. Jack had arrived as an outsider, but he had proven that even in the most unfamiliar places, humanity could shine brightly. And as the night stretched on, both Jack and Lyra knew that their journey was only beginning. For Jack, the home that had once seemed impossible now felt like a place of discovery, challenge, and belonging. And for Lyra, the human who didn't fit had shown her the extraordinary potential of courage, curiosity, and the unyielding spirit of life itself. Together, they looked to the stars, ready for whatever came next, knowing that humanity's strength and determination could thrive anywhere, even in the heart of an alien world.